folks. Dr. Joe here. I get the all clear from Heather and John, my producers. Welcome. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. First time joining us. If it is, I'm going to explain to you how the show works. What we do is we do two 24-minute segments. I will speak for 24 minutes. You, if you have any health questions, will type it in whatever platform you're on. And at the break, I'll answer your health questions. Then we do another 24-minute segment, and then I will answer questions again. And so this is a great opportunity, if you have any healthcare questions, to say, hey, Dr. Joe, I have this question. I don't know who to ask, and maybe I'll get an answer for you. Usually I do, which is kind of cool. So that's pretty much it. So if we're ready to go, we ready to go, John? Okay. Nope. Yeah. Okay. John's going to give me my timer. I got this big timer behind the camera, so you guys can't see it, but it's a big clock. So I'm going to clap my hands, and we're going to start. Ready? Hey, folks. Hang on. Okay, that's it. Let's start. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Glad you can be with us today. What we're talking about, I'm just laughing here. We had a little problem getting started here. What we're going to talk about today, tips to make your morning easier. Because I have people come to me all the time and say, Dr. Joe, I'm just not a morning person. Anybody like that? Raise your hands. Yeah. I'm not a morning person. So what does that look like? Well, what that looks like is there might be something wrong, health-wise, that we're going to talk about today that might be able to fix, which is kind of cool. Now, some people just aren't morning people. I get it. We have different circadian rhythms, and I totally understand that. But all of us can benefit from the things we're going to talk about today because it's stress, it's digestion, it's life, it's brain issues, it's your bed, it's your bedroom. And so we're going to give you little hints on how to get better night's sleep and then make the morning a lot easier. Because if you ever have those good mornings, I know some people say I never have a good morning. But if you ever have a good sleep, a night's sleep, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, you wake up and you go, wow, is this what other people feel? Other people actually feel awake and healthy in the morning? Yes, it's actually true. And we're going to teach you how to get to be one of those people. So if you shortchange on your shut eye, it can make you moody, cranky, anxious, depressed. It can affect your digestive system, affects your workload. It affects your love life. Everything's affected when we don't get a good night's sleep. You also might find it hard to remember things, to do things properly. In the long run, lack of sleep can lead to other conditions as well, like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. So it's well worth trying to figure out how to make this thing work that we call sleep. Should be natural, right? Close your eyes, go to sleep. And if you have kids, you ever were a kid, you probably remember that you could sleep through the night. You probably remember that I remember back in high school waking up after lunch. I remember one afternoon, I woke up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I thought, this is so cool. I missed 2 meals. This is so awesome. But I was younger. I was able to stay out late, and I was able to sleep late. Well, those days are gone, as the song once said. So a couple of things that we have to consider. One of them, which is a big one, of course, is major life events. Now, it's normal for something unusually stressful. Maybe you got in a car accident. Maybe you lost your job. That can make you wake up during the night. But these effects should fade over time as the situation starts to fade. The nice part is that we forget things. And that's one of the beauties of being a human is our body has the ability to forget bad things. I remember my mother saying years ago, she said, if a woman ever remembered the pain of childbirth, that would be the end of civilization. No one would ever have children anymore because one time and that would be it. And I've spoken to other women about it and they all laugh and go, yeah, your mother was right. I do kind of forget how bad it was. Painful it was. It wasn't bad. Painful, I should say. But if it's not fading over time, then it becomes a serious issue. Maybe it's a breakup. Maybe it's loss of a loved one. The number one stress that we have as humans is death of a loved one. And I think that's pretty clear for most of us. The number two stress that we have is moving. This is according to Dr. Hans Selye, a researcher out of Canada, who studied cortisol levels. Now, cortisol is a hormone that's released when you're under stress. In a normal cycle, your cortisol should spike in the morning, and we do tests on the office on this. We can spike it in the morning, and we can see that's normal. It wakes you up. And then as the day goes on, your cortisol level should drop until evening comes and you get tired and you fall asleep. That's a normal cortisol cycle. It's rare that I find somebody with a normal cortisol cycle. I remember years ago, I did my test. I did a urine test, and I found out that my cortisol was high in the morning, high in the afternoon, high at night. And so I was under so much stress. And so I decided, it was really an eye-opening moment for me because I realized I got to cut back on the stress because fixing everything that's stressful isn't going to do me any good if I'm dead. So I fixed it, and now my cortisol level spikes in the morning, drops in the evening, which is what it's supposed to do. If that's not happening, we need to find out why. So there's 3 types of stresses I like to address: chemical, physical, and emotional stress. Chemical stress is food, drugs, alcohol, environmental toxins, perfumes, hairsprays, deodorants, chemicals that get into the body. Those are chemical stresses, and those are the ones that you have most control over. Maybe not 100%, but you have a lot of control over the chemical stresses, what you eat, what you wear. I don't want to make this show all about that, but yeah, don't use hairsprays, don't use perfumes, don't use colognes, don't use artificial smells, don't put air fresheners in the room. The only smells that would be okay for you would be essential oils, pure essential oils. Anything that isn't an essential oil is probably going to be parfum, phthalates, other endocrine disrupting chemicals. I've covered that on other topics and other shows. So don't use them is the bottom line. And it's funny because I thought about this week, and I'm glad I remembered, that for years I've been talking about antiperspirants having aluminum in them, and aluminum is a highly toxic metal. And the deodorant companies fought tooth and nail. Oh, it's too big a molecule. It can't be absorbed, the aluminum we use. It's no big deal. There's no research showing it's bad. And just this week, I saw 2 TV commercials for major deodorant companies, both saying, now aluminum free. So we're going to put that in the Dr. Joe is right column. Because I was right years ago, and now finally everybody's coming around. And, you know, you can only tell a lie for so long until either A, people believe it, or B, the truth comes out and it goes, and aluminum is not good for you. So I don't like antiperspirants because of the aluminum. Major manufacturers are now getting on board with me, so I think that's kind of cool. So we'll tell you about major stresses in the body, and chemicals can cause major stresses, and especially food. That's something we expose ourselves to. Physical stress. How about neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, sciatica, neuropathy? Anybody have any of those? Raise your hands. Most of you do. I know that. I've been in practice a long time, like 38, 39 years now, somewhere in there. So when you have pain, pain can certainly keep you awake, and I know about that. So if pain is keeping you awake, that's probably something you want to come see us for. My team of doctors and I are really good at pain management, natural pain management, without drugs, without surgery. So if you want to make an appointment, just go to our website, drjoe.com, make an appointment to come see us. We get really good results on pain. So if pain's the issue, come see us. And then it's emotional. Now, emotional stress is something that I really can't control, but I can help you control how your body responds to emotional stress. That makes sense? So what happens is when I have people under emotional stress, myself included, when I go through emotional times in my life, I can't sleep, I get anxious, can't focus my brain. So what's happening is I'm affecting what's called the neurotransmitters in my brain. Neurotransmitters are chemicals that make my brain work. And there's 4 major ones. There's dopamine, norepinephrine, GABA, serotonin. So serotonin is a neurotransmitter that helps you relax, makes you happy, makes you focused. Serotonin, the way we make serotonin is our body, we break down food. So we eat something that has protein in it. Now, just about everything has protein in it except water. And your stomach has enzymes in it, or acids. And if we look at protein under a microscope, it looks like a ball of yarn. The enzymes in your stomach unravel it and chop it up into something called amino acids. That is 20 amino acids. The amino acid named tryptophan becomes serotonin in your brain. Serotonin helps you focus, makes you happy. Serotonin becomes melatonin. Melatonin is a neurotransmitter, helps you sleep. So I've seen thousands, I'm guessing maybe tens of thousands of patients in my career. Every time I have a patient that has sleep issues, there's somehow an involvement with the stomach. I've never seen it not happen. Now, you might be the first one, but I've never seen it not happen. So in a case like that, we need to take a look at the stomach. So many times the stomach can push up against the diaphragm. If the stomach pushes up against the diaphragm, you're not breaking down food properly. If you're not breaking down proteins properly, you're not creating amino acids. Amino acids become neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitter serotonin becomes melatonin. You can't sleep. Follow the path? Kind of took you down a little path there. So we have to work on your digestive system to help produce melatonin. Now you're thinking to yourself, I don't have to do that, Dr. Joe. I'm smarter than you. I'm just going to take a melatonin supplement. Pretty simple. Well, I've tried melatonin supplements because I try everything to see if it works or not. And I get so heavy. I just feel like I'm drugged almost. I get so heavy, but it doesn't help my sleep a whole lot. I just feel heavy. Now, other people it helps. I get that. But if you take melatonin supplements, your brain has a what's called negative feedback loop in it, or a negative feedback mechanism. And so what happens is your brain says, oh, I got plenty of melatonin. I don't have to make any more. And so now you slow down your production of melatonin. So if you stop taking the melatonin, which is a hormone, your body says, I forgot how to make it. I used to make it a long time ago, but I haven't made it in a long time. So I'm not a big fan of melatonin supplements if you can avoid them. Some people need them, but generally speaking, I don't recommend them. What I recommend is fix your stomach. And there's an adjustment that I can do and my team of doctors can do. We can actually take the stomach and massage it or pull it down away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, the stomach starts to digest food in most cases better, including proteins, to get the amino acids and the neurotransmitters production, and it's amazing. So if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, chances are it's a physical problem that many times can be corrected. Just this week, I had a lady come in, and she's taken medication for years for acid reflux. She said, I explained to what I just explained to you. And she said, I went to my gastroenterologist, and she showed me on a film, I guess an x-ray or an ultrasound, whatever it was, that the stomach was pushed up against the diaphragm. She goes, it's exactly what you just told me, Dr. Joe. I said, right, okay, good. She said, but she didn't tell me anything to do about it. She just said, I have it. And I get that. Not everybody knows how to fix everything. I don't know how to fix everything. But in cases like this, we're really good at fixing it. So if you have that issue, you might want to come see us. And you can book an appointment, by the way. Just go to our website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and you can book an appointment. We have 4 offices. We'd love to see you. And let's see if that's the issue. If it is, in many cases, it's a pretty easy fix. Not all, but many. So if we fix the gut, you start breaking down the proteins to create amino acids to produce neurotransmitters, and then the brain starts to settle down. So those life events, that anxiety, the depression you might be experiencing, the loss of job, loss of a loved one, breakup of a relationship, those things oftentimes are mitigated or managed by fixing the gut. It's pretty cool. I know it's a thing that most people have never thought of before. So that's an issue. Everyday worries, workday worries can help prevent you from sleeping. My big thing is that I lock my car. I always have to double check to make sure I lock my car when I park my car. It's a minor thing. It's no big deal. I've learned that it's in a little OCD, I'm guessing, with me. So I just click the car again, make sure it's locked, and I walk away. But did I pay the power bill? Did my property taxes due this week? Did I forget I have to take the kid to school tomorrow in a carpool? A to-do list is so important when it comes to mental stability, but also being able to sleep. So what do I do? What I do is I have little sticky pads. I love little sticky pads. They're my favorites. And I have a little sticky pad, and I like the kind that has stickiness all the way across the back. Because I've had the ones that are just a little sticky, and they tend to fall off things. The ones that have the stickiness all the way across the back work tremendously for me. So I have them in my car, in my office, in my kitchen, at my studio. I carry sticky notes everywhere I go. So when I have a thought, write it down. Now, you could also send yourself an email. I've done that already before. If I'm out, let's say hiking or something like that. I got to remember that. Send myself an email. And then I go through my emails and go through that list too. But that's an amazing life hack to help control stress management in your life. It's so easy. It's so quick. It's so effective. It's so inexpensive. And then once it's written down, your brain says, all right, Joe, I've got this covered. You can move on to the next thought. So managing everyday woes is so important. That's why a to-do list is so important, and I like sticky notes. Some of you might keep a calendar in your phone, or a to-do list in your phone. I tried that. I keep forgetting to look at my to-do list. Sticky notes are right in front of me, and I don't like seeing them. So I like to clean them up and throw them away. And I actually get a little tiny thrill every time I get to throw one of them away. So it's a little thrill for me. So keeping a to-do list is going to be wonderful when it comes to reducing everyday woes, which will then help you sleep better. Getting the bedroom just right is so important. I don't like it that cold, okay? Some people do like it cold. So what do I do then? If I'm in a room with somebody who likes it cold, well, I'm able to put, some clothes on and stay warm. But your bed, what's your bed look like? It's your bed, you put a marble in it, rolls down to the middle. Is it all worn out? Does your partner snore? That could be an issue. If somebody snores, many times it's the stomach pushed up against the diaphragm again. So if the stomach is up against the diaphragm, we can pull the stomach away from the diaphragm, allowing the diaphragm to drop down. You suck in air better, you stop the snoring in most cases. Countless patients over the years have come to me and said, thank you for fixing my spouse. They don't snore anymore, and now I can sleep. So snoring oftentimes is a physical problem. Acid reflux, heartburn, physical problem. Not producing neurotransmitters to make melatonin, physical problem. And we keep trying to treat things chemically. I believe that this is one of the biggest weaknesses in the healthcare system across the world. We've gotten so used to taking a pill for something that we forget that sometimes we just need to tune up the body, physically tune up the body. And that's where chiropractic care comes in. Chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. So if pain is preventing you from sleeping, come see us. Most effective, least expensive. Why wouldn't you do that first? And you should. Now, if you want to make an appointment to come see us in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. So make an appointment right online, drjoe.com. Normally, the first visit is $940. For my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on your follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. The x-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. So stop suffering. Get to sleep. Get the body functioning normally. Come see us, drjoe.com. You can book it right online or call us. We want to see you as quickly as possible. All 4 offices have new patient appointments available every week. So there's no reason why you should have to wait too long to see us. So drjoe.com, great place to get information, but also a great place to book an appointment. So we have to look at what's the ideal scenario. Now, scientists have said that keeping it cool between 60 and 67 degrees is just right. To me, that's too cold. I like it around 68 to 72 degrees. You got to find out what works for you. Some people like wearing socks. I don't like wearing socks when I sleep. Some people like big pillows. Some people like little pillows. You got to find out what the environment is going to work best for you. Do you like it totally dark? Do you like a sound machine going? Do you like white noise? Try different things and find out what gets you through the night. Whatever gets you through the night, that's the way you should be sleeping. It's going to be the best thing for you. So if you're just tuning in, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, and what we're talking about today are tips to make your morning easier. And you make your morning easier by having a good night's sleep. And a good night's sleep is elusive to a lot of people. Many, many people don't get a straight 8 hours. And we're talking about today things that might be causing it and then what to do about it. Alcohol is another one. You might think it's going to help you sleep, but alcohol can keep you awake. You may go into a mild sleep, but you don't get into deep what's called REM sleep. REM sleep, rapid eye movement, not the band REM from Athens, Georgia. REM sleep, REM sleep is a deep sleep. And if you can't get into that, it can cause problems, and alcohol can prevent you from getting there. Alcohol can also interfere with your breathing. It also makes you pee more, which typically means you have to get out of bed. I hope you get out of bed anyway. And so for a better night's sleep, I would say stay away from the alcohol for many reasons. Now, if you're a regular listener to the shows, you know I talk about what I call the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. The 7 deadly sins of nutrition are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Those are the 7 foods I want you to cut back or cut out of your life. Now, go to my website, drjoe.com. Just type in 7 deadly sins of nutrition in the search bar. You can listen to that talk. We're not talking about that. But all of those can prevent you from getting a good night's sleep. Because you have to get up and pee, well, regardless of the damage it does to your brain, the alcohol, regardless of how it affects your REM sleep and your breathing, if you got to get up and pee, it's going to interrupt your sleep. And I know you all lay in bed going, I'm so tired, but I got to get up and pee. But I'm too tired to get up and pee. But I don't want to get up and pee. I get it. I stopped drinking a lot of fluids around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And if I can do that, then I usually am okay. If I have something very watery for dinner, if I have soup for dinner, if I have salads for dinner, if I have tomatoes for dinner, that's a lot of fluid. Might have to get up an extra time or two to pee. Wish I didn't. When I was younger, I didn't. I mean, I used to go out. I was a typical kid. I'd go out and have a few beers and, eat horrible food and sleep through the night. Well, if you're 15, 16, 18, 20 years old, you can do that stuff. When you're my age, you can't do that stuff anymore. So you have to start becoming real. What do I do with this situation I'm in right now? Another thing, caffeine. So coffee, chocolate, teas, energy drinks, even in normal doses, they can keep you awake and give you less sleep. Now, I've known people that can drink coffee right before going to bed, sleep through the night. People are affected differently with caffeine. But coffee, one of my 7 deadly sins, has a lot of negative aspects to it. Now, you're thinking to yourself, Dr. Joe, I have to have my coffee or I can't function. I may kill someone because I'm really grumpy. And I get that. So if you want to quit the habit, and you should, by the way, in my first book that I wrote, Eating Right for the Health of It, I have a chapter called Kicking the Habit. And here's a little trick you can do to get off your coffee, because the coffee is bad on so many different levels. The only thing it's good for is giving you energy, really. Take a cup of coffee, black cup of coffee, put it in front of you, and take 1 tablespoon every hour. And that's going to give you just enough caffeine to calm down your brain, but not too much to stimulate your brain. And I'm not going to give you the rationale behind it. If you want to know more about coffee, go to the website, type coffee in the search bar, listen to the show we did on coffee. It's not something you want to do for many reasons, the least of which actually is the caffeine. But coffee has a half-life of 12 hours. So for some people, you can have a cup of coffee and 12 hours later, only half of it is out of your system, the caffeine, and it's still affecting you. So I'm not a big fan of coffee, and it's a diuretic. It makes you pee. It can also stimulate your bowels, so you may have to get up for other reasons in the night. But I really want you to avoid the caffeine. If you have to do it, don't. But if you do, I want you to do it in the morning only. And if you're going to drink coffee, don't. But if you do, organic only. Coffee has so many pesticides and fungicides because coffee is picked and then it sits around for a long time before you get to drink it. And many times fungus grows. So they spray fungicide on the coffee to prevent fungus from growing. And so another reason you want to avoid the coffee. But on the website, drjoe.com, we have a whole show on coffee. I don't want to belabor this too much. Just like drinking too much at night, eating too much at night can be a problem. So if you have to have your foot-long chili dog and your onions and your fries, it's likely going to interrupt your sleep. So what I want you to do is have a light dinner. Now also, the calories that you eat at night are more impactful than the calories you eat in the morning. So if I ate 100 calories worth of food in the morning, it's going to have a less impact on my weight than if I eat 100 calories of food at night. So nighttime should be very light dinners. If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and type the words, "So what can I eat?" in the search bar. And listen to the show that I did on So What Can I Eat? It wasn't a show. It was actually just me talking for an hour. And that'll give you some real good insight as to what to do, what to eat, what not to eat. We talk about breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, raising kids, holidays. It's all very good information. And by the way, on our website, we have over probably 4,000 hours of podcasts and lectures and blurbs and articles. All that is absolutely free for you. We may change that in the future. We may start charging in the future because we had so many people on the website. But either way, it's there for free if you want to use it. drjoe.com, a lot of good information there. I want you to do me a favor. Follow us on social media. I got a lot more to cover. Don't worry. This isn't the wrap-up. We got a lot more to cover. But follow us on social media. My Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, on health tips, ideas, sometimes recipes. Please do that. When you go to my website, drjoe.com, sign up for our newsletter. We post about once a week. We send out a newsletter, but we have giveaways. We have product discounts. We have special pop-ups. We've given away concert tickets in the past. So sign up for our newsletter. It's really important that you do because between that and social media, you're going to get a lot of good information. But the most important thing you could do is come see us. Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We'd love to be your doctors. Now, if you have any questions, you can send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer any questions for you. A little bot pops up. You can send me a question, or it says contact us, either way. But so many of us have health issues. I have health issues, and I always want to know what else can I do. So we'd love to be part of your family. So drjoe.com is a great way to do it. The website again, drjoe.com. We'll be right back. Bam. All right. Any questions? I got to stretch my legs. My leg was going to sleep. All right. Any questions?
We have 2 questions so far, Dr. Joe.
What do you got?
The first question is, can nerve damage be reversed?
It depends the type of nerve damage. When I went to school, we were taught that brain damage, for example, if there was brain damage, the cells were dead forever. Now it turns out the brain is regenerating cells constantly. And the brain also has something called neuroplasticity. So the brain can rewire itself. So if I have a damaged part of the brain, it can rewire around the damaged part with the proper therapies. And my team of doctors and I are very good at that. So if it's a brain issue, that's one thing, like traumatic brain injury. If it's peripheral nerve damage, the arm, the leg, the nerves can grow back, I think, don't quote me on this, 1 millimeter a month. They grow very slowly, but they can grow back. But you have to unpinch the nerve in order for it to grow. So that's where chiropractic care comes in. So with nerve damage, come see us and let's see what you have, and then let's see what we can do to get that fixed. What else?
The second question is, how do you feel about mushroom coffee?
I like mushroom coffee. In fact, I just recently started drinking it. It's not really coffee. It's just a mushroom drink. And I like it. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's pretty cool. It's all the buzz right now, mushrooms, and I think they're pretty cool. Anything else?
Nothing else so far.
All right. Let's do the second part. Let's reset the clock. Okay. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Thanks for joining us. What we're talking about today are ways to make your morning easier. Some tips, some hacks, whatever words you want to use to make your morning easier. And the way we do that is by getting a good night's sleep. And many of you, I know this because I get emails from you every day, say, I can't sleep, I can't sleep, I can't sleep. I have patients come in, I can't sleep. I have people send me emails, I can't sleep. I hear about it constantly. So I'm giving you some tips on things we can do to get a better night's sleep so that the morning becomes a lot easier. So if we eat too late at night, what happens is when you eat food, it goes down your esophagus, which is your food pipe, and it passes through something called the diaphragm. Now, the diaphragm is a sheet of muscle that divides your body in half. And has a hole in it. It has 2 holes, one for your aorta, one for your digestive, for your stomach, your esophagus. So when you eat food, the diaphragm, the little hole opens up. It's called the lower esophageal sphincter. Food drops into the stomach. It closes. You digest food, and then you pass it on. That's normal. Many of us, and I'm part of this group, the stomach has pushed up into the diaphragm. It could be from trauma, could be from eating 2 big meals, could be from just getting older. And the stomach pushes up into the diaphragm, and so you might have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. And again, we've talked many times about adjusting or pulling the stomach down away from the diaphragm, and in most cases, the results are amazing. Incredible results with that. Not everybody, but most. So if we do that, that's great. But if you're standing up all day, you have gravity pulling the stomach down. As you get older, the diaphragm becomes weaker, and if you lay down, you don't have gravity anymore. So now, instead of gravity pulling your stomach down, nothing is pulling it away from the diaphragm, and you lay down, you try to breathe, you inhale, the diaphragm tries to drop, go down to suck air in, but it can't because your stomach's in the way. And so what happens now is you have trouble breathing. You might have sleep apnea, you might gasp for air, snore. So in many cases, pulling the stomach away from the diaphragm helps, but eating a big meal at night never helps. Another thing that can affect the diaphragm is called the phrenic nerve. The phrenic nerve comes out of your 4th cervical, your 4th vertebrae in your neck, and it comes down and it supplies the diaphragm. So with the phrenic nerve, if you have damage to your neck, you might have a pinched nerve. Pinching the phrenic nerve, that controls the diaphragm. And that can prevent proper breathing as well. And so many times people assume they have asthma, when in reality they have damage to the phrenic nerve. Now, what can damage the 4th cervical nerve? Pretty much anything. Car accidents, lifting, bending, squatting, housework, yard work, bumping your head, falling, being a kid, jerking around, wrestling with your brothers and sisters, bending over a computer all day, looking at your phone all day, tech neck. All those things can affect the 4th cervical nerve, which then can affect your breathing, which then can affect your sleep. So a lot of times when people have breathing issues, we have to actually check their nerves in their neck to get those things working again, adjust them from a chiropractic standpoint to open up the nerve supply. Then if you eat a big meal, the diaphragm might be already weak and it's even making it worse. So stay away from those big late night eating binges because it's the worst time you could eat. In fact, ideally, you don't want to eat, if you're on an average schedule, you don't want to eat past 7 o'clock at night, and you don't want to eat again until at least 7 o'clock in the morning. This is called intermittent fasting or timed eating. And by giving your body a break, letting your body rest, it's so important to getting a good night's sleep because digestion uses up a lot of energy. And if you're eating a big meal right before you go to bed, you're using up a lot of energy to try to digest this food. And that's an activity, and your body doesn't want activity when it sleeps. It wants to go to sleep. So calm that down. And we do that by not throwing food at it, especially bad foods like the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Staying away from those especially, but staying away from all food is going to be the best because then your body says, okay, I don't have to worry about digestion now. I can worry about sleeping and repairing and dreaming and healing the brain. So try to stay away from those big meals late at night. Another thing that can interrupt your sleep and give you a rotten morning is medication. How many people take at least one medication? I got to look that up one day. That's probably an interesting fact. The answer is a lot. And one medication could do it if we start mixing medications. This is an issue that's been around since medication's been around. Is we can test one drug, we can test another drug, we can test another drug. When we start mixing the drugs together in different dosages, the combination and the impact is almost infinite. We don't know what's going to happen if we mix A and B and C and then we have food with it, or grapefruit, or we have meat, or we have dairy, or we have alcohol. And so it's really an infinite amount of possibilities that can happen when we start mixing medications. So medication, you can do something like pseudoepinephrine that's found in over-the-counter decongestants. That can interrupt your sleep. Drugs for allergies, heart disease, hypertension, ADD, Parkinson's, all of these can affect your brain. And so if you are having a problem with that, we have the web now. When I was young, we didn't have this thing called the web. Just look up side effects and put in your medication and see what kind of side effects there are. You might be surprised to know that your blood pressure medication is actually preventing you from sleeping, which causes too much stimulation to the brain, which can raise your blood pressure. It's kind of an ironic twist, right? Elvis Presley said, I'm caught in a trap. And you're caught in a trap with a lot of these medications. The body just doesn't know what to do about it. Now, another thing that prevents good sleep and giving you a rotten morning is anxiety and depression. Now, all of us have anxiety. All of us have depression. It's part of the human experience. When it becomes an issue where it starts affecting your life for a long period of time, that's when it's something that has to be addressed. Now, everyday events worry you. If they worry you more than they should, you may have some form of anxiety. This kind of worrying can interrupt your sleep. People with bipolar disorder and other mood disorders can also have problems sleeping, including waking up in the middle of the night or having trouble waking up in the morning. Now, we said earlier, and I've said this many times, I want to repeat it, is that whenever I've seen a mood disorder, anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, even Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, I always find a connected digestive problem. Always. I've seen thousands, maybe tens of thousands of patients. I never counted all the patients I've seen in my life. Figure 38 years, I've missed a half a day of work in 38 years. It's a lot of patients. I've never found one that didn't have a digestive disorder. Because we said earlier, the stomach breaks proteins into amino acids, dissolves proteins, it kind of chops them up into amino acids. There's 20 amino acids, and each amino acid does many different things in the body. But the amino acid named tryptophan becomes serotonin in the brain. And when you have anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, it's usually a serotonin issue. And if we can fix the gut to break down proteins into amino acids, many times we essentially reboot the brain, start producing the right amounts of serotonin. Serotonin then converts into melatonin, and you're able to sleep. So bottom line is you got to fix the gut when there's anxiety, depression, mood disorders, ADD, ADHD, or sleep disorders. It may not be the only cause, but it's certainly one of them, if not the major cause. And after doing this for so many years and so many patients coming back and saying thank you, It's a miracle. I've taken so many medications. I haven't been able to sleep. I've been under counseling. Nothing was working. I finally came to see you guys. And then I get the question I wish I had an answer for. I can answer a lot of questions. This one I don't have an answer for. Why didn't somebody tell me about this sooner? I don't have that answer. And again, people say, Dr. Joe, you seem to have the answer for everything. I don't know that one. I wish, my wild dreams in my little fantasy world, that doctors all looked at the body as a whole. You look at the body as a whole and say, all right, nothing is individual. I can't just have leg pain. It may not be my leg. It might be a pinched nerve in my back causing the leg. So there's a connection. It might be that I use a lot of exciting chemicals like pseudoepinephrine, or if I use caffeine, and these issues can stimulate the nerves that make the pain worse. I'm on an inflammatory diet, meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, causing inflammation of the nerves. So there is no direct correlation between A and B. There's always peripheral issues that we have to look at. But the way we deal with all of it, get the nervous system working, get the digestive system working, get your diet straightened out. When we address those three things, many of the problems fall to the wayside. Not all, but many. So with anxiety and depression, of course, that can affect your sleep, but we also have to then look at the digestive system. And boy, I bet you a lot of you are saying right now, why didn't I know this sooner? Why didn't somebody ever tell me that my acid reflux, my burping, my gas, my diarrhea, my constipation was directly correlated to my ADD, to my depression, to my mood swings? It is. And now there's answers to it, too. It's not just giving you a diagnosis, it's giving you a protocol. And that's what's so cool. So if you want to come see us, we'd love to set up a protocol for you. Just go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We can set up an in-person meeting, of course. We're in the Atlanta area. I know this goes all over the world, so we could always do telemedicine. We can do a conference, Zoom it, or, a Facebook meeting, whatever it is, and we can set up a time to just chat online or a phone call, go old school, and let's discuss your specific issue. So just go to website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment there. If you want to do a telemedicine meeting, you need to call us, and we'll get that set up. So I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. What we're talking about today are ways to make your morning easier. And so many of you have issues with this. Hormone issues can be a big one. I did a show, I want to say 2 weeks ago, on hormones. You might want to go to the website, drjoe.com, and catch that. Menopause, of course, is a biggie. Many women of a certain age, younger than me, are going through menopause. They get the hot flashes. They get surges of adrenaline that raises their body temperature. So in cases like that, we say, okay, why are we having surges of adrenaline? That's the adrenal glands. That's why they're called adrenal glands, from adrenaline. And there are certain supplements, like on our website, drjoe.com, there's a supplement called Dr. Joe's Adrenal Support. I take it every single day. You should too, because it helps feed the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands produce energy, they produce hormones, and they control inflammation in the body. So I take adrenal support every single day, because if you're stressed out, if you're doing chemicals like coffee, meat, sugar, dairy, soda, or if you're over 30 years old, chances are you need adrenal support. I take it every day. Now, if you're getting night sweats, and women, it's a big thing, hot flashes, what happens is when you're of childbearing years, your body produces a lot of estrogen. Now, estrogen goes into a part of the brain called the hypothalamus and tells the hypothalamus that it's like controlling the thermostat. The hypothalamus is your thermostat. And estrogen goes in and controls the thermostat. So as you go through menopause, your estrogen levels drop. And as your estrogen levels drop, the hypothalamus is saying, I got nobody controlling the thermostat anymore. I'm just going to go crazy. And you get hot flashes, you cool off, you get hot flashes, hunger cravings, it gets a little crazy. The hypothalamus controls a lot. So with that, you can do what we call plant estrogens or phytoestrogens. They look like estrogen, chemical-wise. They're able to control the hypothalamus, but they don't have the impact that estrogen has as a growth hormone, which is kind of cool. So where might we get these magical plant-based phytoestrogens? Well, things like soybeans are very good at that. Now, if you're going to do soy, make sure it's organic. Fermented soy is the best, like tempeh or miso, but if you're going to do tofu, it's okay. You can do something called black cohosh. Black cohosh is a supplement. It's not a supplement I have. In fact, if you send me an email, I can send you a link to the black cohosh I recommend, or the women's supplements I recommend. But that might help too. And there are certain things, like I said, black cohosh, that can act like estrogen, go into the thermostat and kind of calm it down. So let me go back to that. If you have questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. I am happy to answer your questions for you. Usually we have an answer for you. Not always, but usually. So if you have a question, drjoe.com. The best thing you can do for your health, whether it's sleep or any health issue, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctors. Imagine how cool it would be, me and my doctors being your doctors. Putting together nutrition protocols, putting together chiropractic protocols, working on a digestive system, getting to the cause of the problem, not just treating the symptoms. Without drugs, without surgery. Sometimes you need drugs and surgery, but never hurts to try the less dramatic, less intense approach first. Let's start out with chiropractic, nutrition, and digestion. If we need to escalate care, we can, but in most cases, we don't have to. So drjoe.com, you can book it right online. Normally, the first visit is $912. For you listeners, I've reduced that to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, complete nutrition evaluation. Crazy. But I want to know if you're going to be a candidate for our treatment. And if you are, then we put together a treatment plan for you. Again, chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain, so don't worry about that. We accept people with all insurances. Depends what your coverage is. We accept you. It depends if they accept us. But here's the thing. About 50% of our patients or more don't have insurance or have deductibles. That means they don't have insurance, $5,000, $6,000 deductibles. What could be more important than your health? What could be a better investment than your health? And the biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I do this sooner? This is all I had to do, get the nervous system working, digestive system working, get my diet straightened out, take some supplements? Yes. In most cases, yes. So drjoe.com, we'd love to work with you, and you can set up an appointment. Follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. That's my handle. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We post every single day. You are going to get so much information. If you like this, you're going to get it every day in your inbox. Dr. Joe at Dr. Joe Esposito. And if you go to my website, drjoe.com, and sign up for our newsletter, we also send out discounts. We have specials, supplement specials, pop-up lectures, pop-up Zoom calls. You want to be able to stay in touch with us. So drjoe.com, sign up for the newsletter, follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're a podcast junkie, just go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Hundreds of hours of podcasts that you'll get there. And we post at least twice a week on podcasts. So we have so many different ways to help you get well and stay well. We can be your doctors. We can answer questions. We can do Zoom calls if we have to. We can talk about protocols for nutrition, supplements. We can follow us on social media for health tips. Folks, there's no reason why you should be suffering from a lot of your health issues anymore. We want to be your doctors, drjoe.com. So what we're talking about today are reasons why you're not having a good morning, how to make your morning better. Sleep apnea, we kind of covered that earlier. If the stomach pushes up against the diaphragm, you can't breathe. You can't breathe, you wake up. You wake up because the body says, I ain't getting oxygen. I got to wake up or I'm going to die. So your body's doing exactly what it's supposed to do to protect itself, and for some reason you just keep fighting it. But many times there's an answer. Why wouldn't you take the answer? I don't know. You should. I used to play hockey, and I used to play hockey in my 30s. I played roller hockey in my 30s, and before that I played, street hockey and things like that. But I remember playing, and the games weren't until sometimes 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I wouldn't get home until late at night. I could not sleep. I remember laying in bed going, I'm wide awake. I've never had so much energy. I feel great. So I take a really cold shower to try to cool me down because it was summer hockey league. And if you exercise before you go to bed, you may not be able to get a good night's sleep because exercise releases a hormone called cortisol. We talked about that earlier. Cortisol keeps you awake. It's a stimulatory hormone. So exercising right before you go to bed may not be the best thing. I can't do it. I got to work out in the morning, maybe the afternoon, but if I work out too close to bedtime, my cortisol levels just go way too high. Now, if you have too much light, that can also affect your sleep. So if you fall asleep with your electronic device in front of you, that may not be such a good thing because when there's darkness, your brain says, ooh, it's time to produce melatonin, the neurotransmitter or the hormone that actually helps you sleep. When there's light, the brain is saying, I don't really have to make any melatonin because it's still light out. It's not time for bed yet. like a little kid. It's time for bed. But mommy, it's still light out. I know. But your brain is saying the same thing. But Joey, it's still light out. I don't want to go to sleep. So making it dark really works. If you can't make your bedroom dark, a simple thing you can do is go to a drugstore and get a mask. The sleep masks, they cost about $5. They're real fancy. Sometimes they're real soft and furry. And that will help block out the light so the light doesn't go into the brain. And the brain says, "Ooh, I got to make melatonin." It says, "Oh, it's dark. I got to go to sleep." It works real well, by the way, and they're very comfortable. If you've never worn one, they're very, very comfortable to use. Now, if you work the night shift, that can be an issue too. And I've done just about every job in the world. Everything but waiter. I used to serve hot dogs at Giant Stadium. I mean, I guess that's waiter. I don't know. But I never actually worked in a restaurant waiter. I would wash dishes in restaurants many times, but I never was a waiter. But I digress. Working the night shift, I used to be a security guard. So working the night shift can become an issue too. So that's why you need those masks or something to make it totally dark so that you can get some sleep. If you nap, that can affect your sleep too. Now, napping can be good. 20-minute nap in the middle of the day can actually help you if you're feeling tired. But if the nap is too late in the afternoon, what happens is the body says, "I just slept. It's not time for sleep again." Think of your brain like a child. How am I going to get my child to go to sleep? How am I going to get my brain to go to sleep? So napping may not be the best thing. And there is something called primary insomnia. Primary insomnia is you really just can't sleep, and many times we can't figure out the cause. But if we can get the room temperature right, get the bed right, if we can get the food right, if we can get the melatonin production, get the digestive system working, don't have you waking up peeing, make it dark enough. There are several things that even with cases with primary insomnia, we've been able to say, we fixed it. And pain is a big issue. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10 years old. Severe traumatic brain injury. I know I wear it well, right? But a severe traumatic brain injury, and if my brain injury starts to act up, I start getting a little headache, I wake up. Now, the problem with traumatic brain injuries are you always have them. Notice I didn't say I had a traumatic brain injury. I have a traumatic brain injury. And so it's always there. And several things can stimulate traumatic brain injuries. Monosodium glutamate. Glutamic acid can stimulate and cause pain. If you're in pain, if you have a traumatic brain injury, your brain releases glutamic acid. And so in cases like that, you might need magnesium to counteract the glutamic acid. So magnesium can help suppress the glutamic acid release. So if that's the issue, that's something you may have to do. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I take, of course, supplements. If you're not taking supplements, folks, I got to put the plug in now. I strongly advise you take at least Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're two powders. They taste great. We have plain hemp and mint super greens. I like the hemp and the mint. Hemp is number one, mint is number two. Yet plain is our biggest seller by far. But if I take a scoop of super greens and a scoop of Essential Source in the morning, it makes my day a whole lot better. And that's the way I kick off my morning. I wake up, I have super greens and Essential Source. I take nitric oxide every day. Nitric oxide opens up my blood vessels. I take B complex every day. That stimulates my nervous system. I take adrenal support to help control inflammation. I take omega-3 fatty acids to bring down inflammation in my brain and keep my brain healthy. So I take a handful of supplements first thing in the morning. That's how you make the morning better. Don't load up on bacon and eggs, hardest things to digest, very loaded saturated fat, clumps your red blood cells together, makes you tired throughout the day. I don't do any stimulants like coffee or tea. They aggravate my traumatic brain injury. They give me a headache. So I take the nitric oxide. I take the B complex. I take the adrenal support. I'm working on a new supplement, actually. It's going to be a stimulant, a natural stimulant. So I'm working on that. Hang on. It should be out hopefully in a couple of months. But I'm working with some chemists on this to make an all-natural supplement that's going to give you a boost of energy. So at least take Super Greens and Essential Source. That's going to help get your brain the nutrients that it needs so that the brain can actually calm down and start to sleep. I take my nitric oxide in the morning so that my blood vessels open up throughout the day, get good circulation to the brain. I take all my supplements every day. I can't imagine a day without taking supplements. You should feel the same way. So once you start taking the proper protocol and you start eating the right foods, you get the spine lined up and relieve the stress, it literally becomes a whole new world. You become a whole new person. Patients, every day I get emails or flowers or cards or messages from folks saying, "Thank you. You've changed my life." I get teary-eyed. 38 years to this day, I still get teary-eyed when I hear these stories. Thank you for changing my life. Thank you for giving my life back. Thank you for giving my spouse's life back, my children. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, go to my website, drjoe.com, book an appointment to come see us. Send us any questions you have through the website. I'm happy to answer them. The Super Greens, the Essential Source, the nitric oxide, the omega-3s, all the other supplements, they're all on the website, drjoe.com. When you order them, we usually ship them the next business day. Or come pick them up. Save some shipping. Again, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, Atlanta area, all the addresses are on the website, drjoe.com. But let's solve a lot of the health problems in the world. And we can do that by balancing the nervous system, balancing the digestive system, and fixing the diet. It's not going to solve everything, but it's going to solve a lot of them. Follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We post every single day. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service, type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, again, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, drjoe.com. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. All right. What you got?
We have one question for you so far.
Okay.
What do you eat for breakfast?
I haven't eaten in 36 years. I'm starving. No. No. I eat a lot. I got to watch my weight. I mean, I can put on weight pretty easily. So for breakfast, is always Super Greens and Essential Source and all my supplements first thing. Then usually 2 or 3 pieces of fruit. Apples, peaches, pears, bananas, mangoes, kiwis, star fruit, tangerines, whatever it is. Depends what's in season. I try to buy what's in season. Then I start my day. I get ready, take my shower, shave a little bit. Having a beard makes it easier to shave. Get dressed. And then if I'm still a little hungry, which I'm usually not, I may have a little oatmeal. I may have a handful of nuts, walnuts, almonds, cashews. Don't eat peanuts, by the way. They're not good for you. And then usually around 10 o'clock or so, I might get hungry. Now, in my office, I have a couple of bags of organic nuts. I have a salad almost every day for lunch. I make a salad. I bring it. Tomato salad, lettuce salad, usually combination. I do that. And then dinner, I kind of leave open. Dinner, I kind of have wide open because I never know what I'm going to do night to night. My life, I love my life. I got the greatest life in the world. And I never know what's going to happen. And I love the adventure. And so sometimes I go home. Sometimes I just skip dinner. Very seldom I go out to lunch. Every now and then somebody wants to take me out to lunch, and I usually say yes. And then I'll have, a salad, or I'll have Chinese food or Mexican food or something like that. I stay away from the chips. They're horrible for you. I usually just like a layer of beans, layer of guacamole, layer of salsa, and I'll just eat it with a fork. I like that. But if you want more, just go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in, so what can I eat? And there we talk about options for breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks. But I look so forward to waking up in the morning because I know, man, I got my supplements waiting for me. I got my Super Greens, my Essential Source, and I know I'm going to have such a great day. So that's why I love waking up in the morning. So, anything else?
Nothing else.
All right, great, guys. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you. Any questions, drjoe.com. Heather's pointing to something. Nothing I have to worry about? Okay, good. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We will catch you next time.